government has agreed to review the taxes on social media and mobile money. It follows uproar from members of the public who are accusing the government of extortion and deliberately denying citizens access to information. The taxes came into effect on the 1st of July. CGTN's Michael Baleke has this report.
Demonstrations rocked parts of the country, including the capital Kampala. Police fired live ammunition and engaged in running battles with activists opposed to the controversial social media and mobile money tax. The tax imposes a 1% levy on receiving, payments and withdrawals through mobile money platforms. It also imposes a daily charge of 5 cents to access social media sites.
Our earnings on mobile money have been cut. We demand to know where all that money is going. Where is the ordinary Ugandan going to get what to eat?
Government now says it will present an amended law to Parliament for debate in the next 7 days. The Prime Minister says the revised law will help raise the much-needed revenue without causing unbearable burden to the citizens.
I would like to assure Parliament that the government is committed to ensuring that taxes on mobile money and OTT are designed taking into account the public concerns and balancing the need to raise revenue to finance our development priorities.
But lawmakers opposed to the levy say the tax should be abolished, not reviewed.
Our people depend on mobile money as their day-to-day business. Business has gone down. Waiting for another day is too long. People cannot wait because this tax has made them go out of business. This tax must go, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today.
A section of Ugandans have installed virtual private network VPN services to bypass the taxes. The Parliament of Uganda will reconvene in 7 days to review the amended bill of the controversial social media and mobile money tax. But government says that for close to 50 days, when the law is under scrutiny, the new tax will remain as is. Michael Baleke, CGTN, Kampala, Uganda.
Well, the Ugandan government is the latest African country to impose restrictions on social media users. For a broader perspective on social media policies on the continent, we're joined by our correspondents Isabel Nakiria in Uganda, Yasser Hakim in Egypt, and Daniel Kijo in Tanzania. Let's start with you, Isabel. The Ugandan government seems to be backing down on the controversial taxes. Is that the case? Well, let's move on to Egypt now, get some more perspective on how social media is regulated in Egypt. Yasser, earlier this year, the parliament passed new laws governing media and journalists. How has that been received?
Yes, there's a new law concerning the media and a special law for social media practices. And obviously it has included a stringent punishments for inciting violence through the social media, something that did not happen before. And we're not just talking about criminal, but also personal, and to fight terrorism, inciting violence in terrorism as well. And although it is in some cases leads to imprisonment, others are calling for the death sentence if it's incitement for killing or for terrorist action. So there is a debate ongoing now in the media and in the public about to what extent this law would not also infringe the social or personal life and points of view. So how do you differentiate between a point of view against some issue, maybe political, and trying to incite any kind of hatred or being in the against any topic or against the government, for example. But it's clear-cut concerning inciting violence and terrorism. However, there is still a debate on the part on opposition parties, on opposition views to the government. Would this lead to any issues or legal problems for anyone who would call for action against the government, for example? And this is the debate right now, and should it be included in the law or not?
And Daniel, coming to you in Dar es Salaam, the Tanzanian government has defended its social media laws as means of curbing both hate speech and fake news. What are the people on the street saying?
Firstly, let me start with the numbers. Tanzania has internet penetration of 20 million, and average monthly users of Facebook, for instance, are 5 million. Instagram, the graphic platform, is at 2 million, while LinkedIn and other platforms are at 1 million and below. So Tanzania is a country that really is active when it comes to Africa on social media. Now, recently, like we've seen in our neighboring country, the government issued something called the Online Content Regulations of 2017, which basically the government says these regulations are to firstly identify online news and current affairs providers, people who run radios, online radios, people who are bloggers who provide content and news out there, people who have online TVs. So the regulations require anyone who does such services to pay an application fee with the Tanzania Communication Regulatory Authority, TCRA, of $50. And then your application would be reviewed. Upon review and approval, you then would pay the initial license fee of $450,000, equivalent to 1 million Tanzanian shillings. And then this would be the annual fee that you would pay for each of these bloggers. Now, there's been a confusion locally on exactly who it touches. Like maybe perhaps in other East African countries, because the country's very active use of social media, people felt, does it mean, you're casual, what experts call micro-blogging, when you just tweet something, or when you are on Instagram and you share a story, will that be charged as well? But the regulations as they stand are not explicitly taxing individual and day-to-day use. Now, in other places where this happens, the government would have to work together with the telco in order to specifically charge data bundles relating to social media every time a consumer transacts. So perhaps you would be charged a certain amount when you want to have a maybe WhatsApp, Instagram and Facebook bundle. The government then would piggyback off the pathway that the telco provides to be able to now add a little levy on that. But this is not what the regulations as it stands say. As it stands, the regulations are merely trying to, as they say, to have a register all the online news and current affair providers, also to be able to address people who are not compliant with providing journalistic news that follow journalistic guidelines, because there's no moderation. So they say it's a way to moderate. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, activists and people who are social media defenders say that this is a move to somehow create a perception of more control versus what people say online, and these two contrasting views are what the general public in Tanzania are divided. So, in terms of hard taxation on individual social media users per person, it does not speculate, nor are they clear charges. But it only has created, the government says they've created a way to list and identify who are online news and current affair providers, and like any other local television or radio, you would require a license. So this is their way to do it. So it's still, right now we know that the bloggers have applied and the deadline has passed already. But questions also have been raised for people who are just beginning their online TVs or radio. They have not gotten sponsors yet. They have not begun to monetize. Should there be a tax holiday or no taxation holiday from being charged by the government when they don't have sponsors? Should there be maybe a 1 year? So these are still the discussions on the ground, especially because Tanzania, again, is one active social media use country.
All right, Daniel, thank you very much for those insights. Daniel Kijo speaking to us live there from Dar es Salaam, Isabel Nakiria in Kampala, and Yasser Hakim in Cairo. Well, earlier we spoke to Kennedy Kachwanya, the chairperson of the Bloggers Association of Kenya, about African governments' views on social media. Take a listen.
You see, the thing with the social media, the thing of digital space, it has given the youth the voices which they didn't have before. And also, I feel like it's a point where many people get jobs, and it's my feeling that the government should be happy with that. That most youth now, go online and they can create their content and they can earn from it. So be it blogging, be it e-commerce, purely on e-commerce when you're using Facebook, or you have your own website and you use the blogging space to marketing it. So this is a big deal in terms of creating job for the youth. But at the same time, obviously, when you look at the political angle of it, also give them voice to voice their opinions about how the countries are being organized or being run. And that's a bit uncomfortable, as I've said, but I feel the government needs to see this in a lighter, positive way and see that they can harness the energy of the youth to help in nation building across Africa. But at the same time, you are asking whether this is a generational divide. In a way, yes. But I don't think if a young ruler is on the platform, probably they have the same different view from the older generation. Probably it would be the same kind of crackdown. But I think with time, this is a time which has come. So probably it will just be a time when they will realize we need to see how to cope with it.